Earth had never felt smaller. At precisely 0342 UTC, a colossal shape slipped into Earth's orbit, a warship unlike anything humanity had ever built or imagined. It hung there silently, cloaked in a deep shimmer that distorted the stars behind it. The object blocked out entire constellations, its hull so vast it swallowed satellites whole. Across every continent, radar stations and telescopes tracked the intruder, their operators frozen in disbelief. Dr. Mira Chen sat alone in the subterranean observatory of the International Space Research Facility, her eyes glued to the bank of monitors. She had been tracking strange energy fluctuations for days, but nothing prepared her for this. "This can't be real," she muttered, fingers trembling over the console. The screen displayed the ship's energy signature, clean, precise, otherworldly. Her phone buzzed violently. The UN Security Council was convening an emergency session, broadcasting live to every channel worldwide. The Secretary General's voice was calm but grave. "We are witnessing the arrival of a previously unknown alien force," he announced. "Their intentions remain unclear, but they have issued a demand for immediate Earth surrender. I urge all nations to maintain calm and unity." But Mira knew better. The moment this ship appeared, Earth was no longer alone, and not in a friendly way. Suddenly, the ship's surface shimmered. A sharp, piercing signal burst from the warship, broadcasting across every frequency, human, digital, and quantum. Mira's sophisticated AI algorithms began decoding it in real time. The message was simple and brutal: surrender unconditionally or be destroyed. Mira's screen flickered, revealing a second layer hidden deep within the transmission, a challenge embedded in mathematical sequences, a puzzle only a mind unshackled by fear could solve. She whispered, "They want to see what we're made of." Across the planet, military installations scrambled jets and missile batteries. Governments activated emergency protocols. Yet in the middle of this chaos, a stubborn flame of defiance burned. 2 hours later, Earth's first strike came, swift, brutal, and merciless. The International Space Station, humanity's symbol of hope and cooperation, became the target of a precise orbital missile strike. Explosions tore through its modules. Emergency alarms screamed across Earth's news feeds. Families watched in horror as the ISS disintegrated into a cloud of burning debris. Captain Jonas Rhee, commander of the ISS crew, was killed instantly, but his last transmission was clear and fierce. "We don't surrender, we fight." In the chaos of loss, humanity's spirit ignited. On the lunar mining colony, miners had already been converting their rigs into industrial ships. Now their battered hulls were retrofitted overnight with makeshift weaponry, railguns cobbled from excavation tools, plasma cutters rewired as cannons. Captain Jonas's sister, Lieutenant Hannah Rhee, took command of the lunar flotilla. She stared at the blinking radar screen aboard the Nova Falcon, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside. "They think we'll break. They think Earth will fall silent. But they don't know what it means to be born under a blue sun." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Dr. Chen raced against time. Her team worked feverishly to analyze the enemy's technology from intercepted transmissions and debris collected by satellites. "We found something," she told the hastily assembled United Earth Defense Council. "A pattern in their communication, like a game of chess. They expect us to be predictable, orderly, but humans are chaos." The council leader raised an eyebrow. "Chaos as a weapon?" Mira nodded. "Yes, it's our greatest strength." The Carthari, warship sensing Earth's defiance, launched a swarm of sleek scout drones. They zipped past the moon's surface, silent hunters scanning for weak points. But human ingenuity struck back. Mining bots, reprogrammed to hunt and destroy, ambushed the drones inside lunar craters. Hannah Rhee's fleet struck first blood, crippling several drones and forcing the warship into a defensive posture. In orbit, tension thickened like fog. The warship's captain, a cold and calculating Carthari named Vale Kor, observed the unexpected resistance with growing unease. "They burn with the fury of a star," he muttered, watching the drones fall one by one. They are dangerous, unpredictable. We must contain this world before it spreads. Back on Earth, Mira stared out a window, the dawn's light breaking through the shattered skyline. For the first time in human history, the universe had looked back, and it had not blinked. The war had begun. The dust from the shattered International Space Station still hung like a ghost in Earth's orbit when the world realized the fight had truly begun. Down on the moon, the miners' colony was already transformed. The familiar clang of tools and grinding of drills had been replaced by the harsh hum of makeshift weapon systems and frantic preparations. Amid the labyrinthine tunnels of the mining complex, Lieutenant Hana Ree stood tall, her eyes fierce, with determination. "We don't have the luxury of waiting for reinforcements," she said to her ragtag crew of miners, engineers, and ex-military volunteers. "The Carthari think they can stomp us out before we fight back. They've never met humans born under a blue sun." Her words sparked a wave of raw courage. They were the frontier, the first line of defense. And their fleet, cobbled together from rusting excavation rigs and converted supply ships, was humanity's hope. Aboard the Nova Falcon, Hana scanned the lunar horizon through reinforced glass. The Carthari scout drones were already moving, weaving shadows between craters like deadly insects. They carried weapons calibrated to stun, but the human fleet had something the Empire's technology did not: unpredictability. "Ready the railgun batteries," Hana ordered, her voice sharp. "Focus fire on the lead drone formation. Wait for my mark." Minutes passed with agonizing stillness. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, the first railgun fired, a thin blue beam slicing through the void, striking the lead drone. It exploded in a shower of sparks and debris. "Impact confirmed," called Lieutenant Amir, Hana's weapons officer. "Drone formation breaking up." The miners erupted in cheers, but Hana kept her gaze steady. "Keep firing. They'll regroup." Meanwhile, Earth's surface buzzed with emergency broadcasts and government alerts. In the halls of the United Earth Defense Council, Dr. Mira Chen and her team sifted through intercepted Carthari data. "Look here," Mira said, pointing to a series of encrypted transmissions recovered from the downed drones. "They're coordinating attacks with a centralized AI system." Her colleague, a grizzled cybernetics expert named Rajiv Patel, frowned. "If we can hack their network, we could blind their scouts. Give our fleet the edge." Mira nodded. "I'm already working on a virus to infiltrate their comms, but it'll take time." Time was a luxury they didn't have. In Earth orbit, the Carthari warship loomed like a phantom, its massive hull glinting faintly in the reflected light of the sun. Captain Vael Kaur watched the unfolding battle with narrowed eyes. "Those humans, they think they can challenge us with broken ships and broken minds," he sneered. "But the Empire is eternal. They will kneel." He tapped a command on his holoconsole. "Deploy heavy strike units. Eradicate the rebel fleet." Below the strike units, sleek, deadly fighters erupted from the warship's bay, diving toward the moon with lethal precision. Hana's fleet barely had time to react. "Incoming fighters," Amir shouted. "Multiple bogies on approach." "Divert. Power to shields. Launch countermeasures," Hana barked. The lunar mining ships shifted formations, dodging laser blasts and plasma volleys. The battle became a deadly dance of light and shadow. Despite their makeshift gear, the human pilots adapted quickly, using the moon's rugged terrain as cover and launching surprise attacks from hidden craters. One fighter, piloted by a young recruit named Elena Vargas, executed a daring maneuver that sent her ship spiraling behind a Carthari bomber. Then she unleashed a barrage of missiles that disabled its engines. "Nice shot, Elena." Hana's voice crackled over comms. Back on Earth, the first signs of hope emerged. Mira's AI team finally cracked the Carthari encryption. A counter-virus streamed from Earth's orbital relay stations, infiltrating the Empire's scout drone network. One by one, drones fell silent, their sensors scrambled by the human code. "It's working," Mira whispered, eyes wide. "We're turning their own systems against them." But the victory was short-lived. In the depths of the warship, Valkor's face twisted with rage as alerts blared across his command deck. "They've hacked our drones," he snarled. "Send in the ground assault units. Prepare for orbital bombardment." Outside, Carthari heavy cruisers shifted into attack formation, their weapons primed for a devastating strike on the moon's fragile bases. Hana stared at the incoming fleet on her displays. If those cruisers open fire, the colony is finished. But surrender was not an option. "Everyone brace for impact," she said. "This is our home and we fight to keep it." As the first salvo of plasma beams tore through the lunar night, Hana's fleet surged forward, blazing a trail of defiance through the darkness. Above, in the void, humanity had drawn its first blood, and the Carthari Empire had learned to fear the blue sun. The United Earth Defense Council convened in a glass-walled chamber perched high above New York City's ruined skyline. The world's greatest leaders, generals, and scientists were gathered in a fragile coalition, born not of trust, but necessity. The Sao, massive holomap above the table pulsed with red dots, Carthari forces tightening their grip on the solar system. But amid the gloom, green dots flickered, human fleets growing stronger, faster, bolder. Secretary General Elena Markov stood at the head of the table. "This war will test everything we know. Old rivalries must end. Earth's survival depends on unity." Around the room, representatives from every nation and major corporation nodded, their faces grim but determined. On the moon, Lieutenant Hana Ree paced the bridge of the Nova Falcon, her jaw set tight. The lunar base was battered but still operational, and their makeshift fleet had grown. Ships arrived daily, converted freighters, mining rigs, even luxury yachts refitted for combat. Hana's second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named Marcus Lee, rubbed his stubbled chin. The Empire's retreat near Mars was unexpected. They're regrouping, but they're rattled. "Good," Hana replied. "They'll never expect us to strike first." And strike they did. In the void above, Mars, the Terran Defense Coalition launched a lightning assault on the Carthari staging station, nestled inside the asteroid belt's chaos. The station, a sprawling fortress carved into an ancient rock, was a hub for enemy supplies and reinforcements. Captain Hana Ree led the charge. Her flagship dove through asteroid fields, dodging bursts of plasma fire. Human pilots flew with reckless precision, weaving between giant space rocks and enemy turrets. "Target the main power conduit," Hana ordered. "Disable their defenses and take the station offline." Explosions rocked the station as railguns and missiles tore through its armor. Ground teams in armored suits rappelled from dropships, storming corridors filled with alien soldiers. Back on Earth, Dr. Mira Chen monitored the battle from a mobile command center. Her team was still unraveling Carthari technology, but today, she noticed something more troubling. "They're developing a bioengineered weapon," she told the council. "A virus that can infect both biological and mechanical systems. If it reaches Earth, it could cripple everything." The council erupted in murmurs. General Omar Hassan, commander of the newly formed Terran Space Forces, slammed his fist on the table. "Then we strike first. We can't wait to be the victims." Days later, the first reports came in. In orbit near Venus, a fleet of Carthari vessels unleashed a deadly payload, a swarm of microscopic nanobots that infiltrated human ships, spreading chaos and destruction. Entire squadrons were disabled mid-battle, their systems turning against their own crews. Panic rippled through the Terran fleet. But humans had a weapon the Carthari couldn't understand: adaptability. Dr. Chen's team worked around the clock, developing a counter-virus that not only neutralized the nanobots but used their own programming to disable Carthari ships. The solution came from an unexpected source, an AI adapted from Earth's oldest virus-fighting systems, now evolved with human intuition. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Hana Ree volunteered for a daring mission: infiltrate the enemy flagship and steal critical intel on the bioweapons production. With a small team of elite operatives, she boarded a stealth shuttle and slipped past enemy patrols. Inside the dark corridors of the Carthari vessel, the team moved silently, shadows in an alien labyrinth. Hana's heart pounded as they reached the command center. Using hacked terminals, they downloaded the plans for the bioengineered weapon, a weapon capable of annihilating entire cities in seconds. But their mission was not without peril. As alarms blared, the team was discovered. A brutal firefight erupted in the narrow corridors. Hana fought with cold efficiency, dispatching foes with pulse pistols and close-quarters tactics. They escaped with seconds to spare, detonating explosives to cover their retreat. Back on Earth, the stolen intel shook the Council. "We have to act now," Secretary General Markov declared. "The bioweapon cannot be allowed to reach Earth." Plans were drafted to destroy the production facilities hidden deep within the Carthari-controlled moons of Jupiter. A massive assault was prepared, combining human ingenuity and newly forged alliances with alien rebels eager to strike back. Preparations unfolded, a darker truth emerged. Mira's team uncovered encrypted communications linking a high-ranking Earth official to the Carthari Empire, an informant who had been feeding them intelligence, sabotaging defense efforts from within. The revelation stunned the Council. In a secret meeting deep underground, the traitor smiled coldly. "They think their rage will save them," he whispered. "But the Empire is patient, and patient empires outlast fire and fury." Meanwhile, Captain Hana Ree steeled herself for the coming battles. The war was no longer just about survival. It was about proving humanity's fury, born from Earth's dust, tempered by fire and unyielding against the stars. The rage of the Earthborn was just beginning. The black silence of space shattered. High above Earth's orbit, a sleek Carthari bioship drifted like a serpent waiting to strike. Its hull shimmered with iridescent hues, alive, almost breathing. This was the Empire's secret weapon, a bioengineered horror designed to infect both flesh and machine. The fire weapon they called Venom. Within moments of deployment, swarms of microscopic nanobots burst forth, invisible to the naked eye but deadly to every electronic system and organic being they touched. They crawled across the hulls of Terran warships, infiltrated communication arrays, and spread like a plague through oxygen recyclers and life support systems. On board the Nova Falcon, alarms screamed. Lieutenant Hana Ree slammed her hand onto the console as displays flickered and systems died. "Shields at 60%, no response from engineering. Nanovirus detected," warned Dr. Mira Chen's voice through the comm. "It's attacking our machines and our crew. We need an immediate quarantine protocol." Panic surged through the crew as critical systems began shutting down. The biovirus was unlike any enemy they had faced. It targeted human DNA and machine code alike, turning technology into weaponized decay. "Seal all compartments," Hana barked. "Divert manual overrides. Initiate decontamination." But the virus was relentless. One by one, ship systems failed. Navigation faltered. Communications went dark, and weapons locked down. On Earth, the United Defense Council watched helplessly as communications from orbital defense platforms faded to static. "This is a disaster," General Omar Hassan growled. "They're cutting off our eyes and ears in space." Dr. Mira Chen and her team sprang into action. Racing against time, they analyzed the virus's code, the twisted fusion of biology and technology. "It's self-replicating and adaptive," Mira explained, "but it has a flaw. It responds to certain frequency disruptions, like a neural network sensitive to specific signals." Working frantically in her lab, Mira engineered a counter-virus, a digital immune system designed to infect Venom and disable it from within. It was risky and untested, but the only chance humanity had. "Prepare the upload," Mira ordered. "We'll send it through the comm channels used by the Carthari bioships." Meanwhile, Captain Hana Ree led a desperate boarding mission to the downed Carthari bioship that had released Venom. The ship had crash-landed on the lunar surface during the virus outbreak, its hull cracked and smoking. "This is it," Hana said grimly. "If we can extract the ship's core, we might learn how to destroy the virus at its source." Her team, elite soldiers equipped with protective suits and biohazard filters, entered the alien vessel. Inside, the walls pulsed with strange, organic material, slick and alive. The air was thick with an acrid chemical stench. Suddenly, the ship's internal defenses activated. Tendrils of bioluminescent nanites swarmed toward the humans, lashing out with corrosive energy. "Contact!" shouted Hana as her squad opened fire. Pulse pistols and energy blades tore through the living metal, but the virus-infused defenses fought back viciously. The soldiers pushed forward, reaching the core chamber where a massive organic orb pulsed. With eerie light, Venom's heart. Back on Earth, Mira's counter-virus was ready. "Uploading now," she announced to the council. "It's a shot in the dark, but if it works, it could neutralize the nanobots globally." The command center held its breath as data packets flooded the orbital networks. In orbit, Venom's nanobot swarms began to flicker and malfunction. Systems slowly rebooted aboard the infected Terran ships. Crew members gasped as oxygen returned, and power surged. On the lunar surface, Hana's team planted explosives around the bioship's core. "Evacuate," Hana ordered. They sprinted back through the twisting corridors, the ship shaking violently as the explosives detonated. A shockwave rippled through the vessel, rupturing the hull and sending biomaterial tumbling into the vacuum of space. As Hana and her squad reached the surface, the bioship erupted into a brilliant explosion, light engulfing the lunar night. Hana stood silently, watching the fireball. Venom was destroyed, but the cost had been high. In the aftermath, humanity had scored a critical victory, but the war was far from over. Dr. Mira Chen and Captain Hana Ree shared a grim look during a video link-up. "We bought time," Mira said, "but the Carthari will come back with something worse." Hana nodded. "Then we'll be ready." And somewhere deep in the Empire, Captain Valcor clenched his fists. "They fight with desperation," he hissed. "Good. Let them learn the true meaning of fear." The void had been poisoned, and the war had entered a deadlier phase. The polished chamber of the United Earth Defense Council was heavy with silence. Secretary General Elena Markov stood at the center, eyes narrowed as she stared down the holographic projection of the solar system, red and green dots flickering in chaotic motion. Earth's forces were stretched thin, fighting the Carthari on multiple fronts, from the moon's scarred surface to the asteroid belts beyond Mars. Yet the gravest threat was not just outside Earth's borders. "Madam Secretary, Dr. Mira," Chen said softly, stepping forward. "We've traced encrypted communications. Someone inside the council has been leaking intel to the Carthari." The room shifted, whispers rising like a storm. Eyes darted suspiciously from face to face. Elena's jaw tightened. "Evidence?" Mira nodded, flicking through encrypted logs. "I intercepted data streams masked as diplomatic traffic. The transmissions originated from the Office of Internal Affairs." Gasps echoed. General Omar Hassan slammed his fist on the table. "Traitors? Among us?" The council's doors hissed open. A tall man in a crisp uniform entered. Ambassador Lucien Drake, Earth's representative to the outer colonies, known for his charm and ruthless pragmatism. "Madam Secretary," he said smoothly, "accusations without proof could fracture what remains of our alliance." Elena met his gaze steadily. "Proof will be presented. Until then, all council members are under investigation." Lucian's eyes flickered briefly, a flash of something unreadable, before he masked it with a polite nod. Behind closed doors, Mira worked with cybersecurity teams to unravel the web of deceit. Each step revealed deeper layers of betrayal. Sensitive battle plans, defense vulnerabilities, even troop movements had been handed to the enemy. The traitor's identity remained elusive, but the trail grew warmer. Meanwhile, in the shadowed halls of Earth's government, the traitor met with a Carthari envoy, a sleek reptilian figure named Valcor. "You underestimate human resilience," Valcor hissed. "Your betrayal has bought the Empire time, but it will not last." The traitor smiled thinly. "The humans are fracturing. Their unity is fragile. Soon they will turn on each other, and the Empire will claim victory." Back on the lunar surface, Captain Hana Ree received a coded message. "We have a lead on the mole," her second-in-command Marcus Lee reported. "Intel points to Lucien Drake." Hana's expression darkened. "I never trusted him. As the investigation tightened, tensions in the council erupted. Lucian confronted Elena in a tense exchange. "You jeopardize the alliance," he warned. "Public accusations will only sow panic and chaos." Elena's voice was steel. "The truth is our only defense. The enemy is within." In a daring move, the council authorized a covert operation to apprehend Lucien. Hana led the mission. Her team infiltrated a secure diplomatic compound where Lucien was suspected of meeting Carthari agents. Inside, they found encrypted devices and holographic data revealing the full extent of the leaks. Earth's most guarded secrets laid bare. Lucien was arrested in a dramatic confrontation, his calm facade cracking as he was taken into custody. Before his transport, he spat bitterly. "You think this ends with me? The Empire's reach is long and its patience infinite." The betrayal shook Earth to its core, but it also forged a new resolve. Secretary General Markov addressed the world. "Earth stands united against all threats, external and internal. We will root out corruption and fight for our survival. The Carthari Empire will not break us." In the shadows, Veilcor watched the news with a slow smile. "The humans cleanse their ranks," he mused. "Good. Let them purge. It will only make their fight more satisfying." Meanwhile, Mira and Hana prepared for the next phase. "The enemy's network is compromised," Mira said. "But the real war will be fought in the stars. And in the hearts of those who refuse to surrender." Hana nodded. "Then we make sure humanity's fire burns brighter than ever." The shadows in the council had been revealed, but the war's darkest battles were yet to come. The war stretched beyond the solar system. In the cold vastness between star systems, a fleet of alien vessels drifted quietly near the edge of known space. The ships belonged to the Zelnari, a reclusive and fiercely proud species whose technology rivaled even the Carthari empires. Their reputation was one of merciless warriors and stubborn isolationists. But desperate times demanded desperate measures. On board the flagship Sovereign Dawn, Ambassador Elena Markov and Captain Hana Ree stood before the Zelnari Council, a circle of towering scaled elders whose eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. "You ask for our aid against the Carthari," the lead elder said in a voice like gravel. "Why should we risk our warriors for a race that has walled itself within a single blue world for millennia?" Elena took a deep breath. "Because the Carthari do not stop at Earth. If they conquer us, they will consume the rest of the galaxy. The Zelnari may be next." The council murmured among themselves. One elder stepped forward, her armor etched with battle scars. "We have fought the Empire before. We know their cruelty and their cunning. But what guarantee do we have that your people will stand united? You face betrayal and fracture even now." Hana met the elder's gaze. "We fight not just for survival, but for a future worth defending. We have no choice but to stand together." After tense hours of negotiation, the Zelnari agreed to a conditional alliance. They would lend their advanced technology and elite warriors, but only if humans proved themselves worthy through shared missions and mutual sacrifice. Back on Earth, news of the alliance ignited hope and skepticism alike. While many welcomed the aid, others feared alien influence would come at a cost. Training began immediately. Zelnari instructors taught human soldiers new tactics, how to exploit the weaknesses of Carthari technology. In turn, humans shared their improvisational ingenuity, adapting Earth's old machinery into deadly weapons. Captain Hana Ree led a joint strike team deep into Carthari-occupied space, a test of the fragile alliance. Their target, a heavily fortified supply depot on the icy moon of Europa, a critical logistics hub for the Empire's forces. The approach was perilous. Carthari patrols swarmed the icy plains, their sensors sharp and unforgiving. Hana's team moved silently beneath the auroras shimmering across the frozen sky. Zelnari warriors, tall and lithe, used energy blades to silently neutralize sentries. "Remember," Hana whispered, "this mission isn't just about destroying supplies. It's about proving we can fight side by side." The team breached. The facility's perimeter, facing waves of alien soldiers and automated defenses. The battle was fierce. Laser fire clashed with plasma beams, explosions lit the dark horizon. In the chaos, a young Zelnari named Vertal saved Hana from a sniper's blast, their bond forged in the heat of combat. "We fight as one," Vertal said, his voice steady despite the wounds. The depot was destroyed, crippling Carthari operations in the region, but the cost was high. Several soldiers, both human and Zelnari, fell. Back aboard the Sovereign Dawn, the Alliance Council convened once more. "Your people have proven courage," the lead elder admitted. "Perhaps there is hope for this alliance yet." Elena nodded. "Together we can turn the tide. But the Carthari will respond. We must prepare for their greatest assault." Meanwhile, hidden deep within the Carthari warship, Captain Vialcor seethed. "The humans grow stronger," he snarled. "Their alien allies are nothing but fleeting shadows. We will crush their fragile unity, shatter their will." His eyes burned with cold fire. "Prepare the invasion fleet. We take Earth itself." Across the stars, a new chapter was opening. Humanity was no longer alone. The fight for the galaxy had become a true alliance of species, a struggle where survival depended on trust, sacrifice, and unbreakable resolve. The war was far from over, but the bonds forged in fire would shape the fate of worlds. The skies above Earth darkened. Massive warships, black as void and bristling with weapons, emerged from the solar system's outer reaches. The Carthari Empire had answered humanity's defiance with fury, and their invasion fleet was unlike anything ever seen. A brutal armada designed to crush the planet's resistance and enslave its people. Across the globe, billions looked up in terror and defiance. City skylines flickered as orbital defenses activated. Space stations hummed to life, releasing squadrons of human and Zelnari fighters. Earth's final battle had begun. On the Nova Falcon, Captain Hana Ree prepared her crew. The ship's hull vibrated with anticipation and dread. "We hold the line here," Hana said firmly. "If Earth falls, everything we fought for is lost." Beside her, Zelnari warrior Vertal sharpened his energy blade in silence. The first wave hit with savage precision. Carthari cruisers unleashed torrents of plasma fire, tearing through satellite arrays and orbital fortresses. Fleets of Carthari fighters swarmed like locusts, engaging Earth's defenders in deadly dogfights. In the skies above New York, massive Carthari dropships unleashed ground troops. Armored soldiers poured into the streets, their reptilian armor glinting in the polluted sunlight. Skirmishes erupted in ruined neighborhoods, where human militia and military forces battled fiercely to hold back the tide. In London, Secretary General Elena Markov coordinated defenses from the underground command center. "Hold every sector," she commanded. "Protect civilian zones at all costs." But the Empire had prepared a terrifying secret. Buried deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden within the Siberian tundra, the Carthari deployed their bioengineered monstrosities, gigantic creatures grown, in tanks capable of tearing through buildings and crushing tanks beneath their claws. In the northern front, General Omar Hassan led a coalition of Earth's best soldiers against the monstrous beasts. The air shook with each thunderous step of the creatures as soldiers fired everything from railguns to experimental plasma weapons. Amid the chaos, Captain Hana and Vertal led a crucial mission: sabotage the Carthari fleet's command ship. Hovering just above the Pacific Ocean, their goal was to disrupt the invasion's coordination and buy Earth time. Using stealth technology borrowed from the Zelnari, Hana's team slipped past patrols and boarded the colossal warship. Inside, the corridors twisted like alien roots, pulsing with living technology. Fierce firefights erupted in the shadowy halls. Hana moved with lethal precision, covering her team as they advanced toward the command center. Vertal hacked into the ship systems, broadcasting false commands that sent Carthari fighters spiraling into each other. At the climax, Hana confronted Captain Vialcor, the ruthless Carthari leader of the invasion. Their duel was brutal, blades clashing, pulse pistols firing. Hana's human ingenuity met Vialcor's cold, alien precision. In a desperate gambit, Hana triggered an overload in the ship's core, forcing both to flee as the warship erupted in a fiery explosion visible from orbit. Back on Earth, the explosion gave hope. The Karthari fleet faltered, their command structure in chaos. Yet the battle was far from over. The Empire would not retreat. The skies remained dark, the streets soaked with the blood of defenders. Secretary General Markov addressed the world again, her voice steady despite the devastation. We stand on the edge of extinction, but humanity's spirit is unbreakable. Together with our allies, we will drive the Empire back into the void. In the ruins of a shattered city, Hana and Vaertal watched the dawn break. The war had pushed humanity to the brink, but in the fire and blood, a new hope had been forged. The siege of the Blue Planet was not the end. It was the beginning of humanity's rise. The final battle raged in the orbit of Earth, a swirling tempest of light and fire. The shattered remnants of the Karthari invasion fleet clawed desperately against the combined forces of humanity and the Zelnari. Though battered, the defenders fought with unyielding determination, their spirits burning brighter than any star. Captain Hana Ree stood on the bridge of the Nova Falcon, her gaze fixed on the swirling chaos beyond the viewport. Around her, human and Zelnari soldiers prepared for the decisive strike. Beside her, Vaertal, battle-worn but unbowed, checked his blade, the energy within humming with fierce promise. Today, Hana said, voice steady and fierce, we fight not just for Earth but for every world that dreams of freedom. The battle's tide shifted with a daring maneuver. Infiltrating the Karthari flagship, a special task force led by Hana disabled its main weapon systems, turning the enemy's might against itself. Simultaneously, Zelnari warships unleashed a devastating ion storm, crippling the remaining Karthari vessels' shields and engines. On the ground, General Omar Hassan and his coalition forces pressed the attack, driving the monstrous Karthari bio-creatures back into the depths from which they came. The Karthari commander Vilkor, wounded and desperate, faced Hana once more. This time, on Earth's surface, beneath the shattered ruins of a once great city. Their final duel was brutal, a clash of wills as much as blades. Hana's humanity, her relentless hope and adaptability, met Vilkor's cold imperial might. With a final decisive strike, Hana disarmed Vilkor and held her blade at his throat. Your empire ends here, she declared. Vilkor's eyes burned with hate, but he bowed his head. The war was over. Across the galaxy, the news spread. Earth had stood its ground and shattered the might of the Karthari Empire. In the aftermath, humanity and its allies forged a new future. The United Earth Defense Council expanded into the Galactic Coalition, a union of species bound by shared sacrifice and the unbreakable will to survive. Secretary General Elena Markov addressed the newly formed coalition assembly. We have seen the darkness the Empire would cast across the stars. Together, we will light a beacon of hope and freedom. Captain Hana Ree, now hailed as a hero across worlds, led efforts to rebuild and explore beyond the solar system. She stood beside Vaertal and other allies, ready to face the vast unknown. The war had tested humanity's limits and forged a new identity, the Starborn, a species no longer confined to Earth but united with friends among the stars. As the twin suns rose over the horizon, Hana whispered, "We survived. We rose. And this is only the beginning." The Blue Planet had survived the storm, and from its ashes, a new chapter for all life was born.